Buenas tardes en Europa.
Good afternoon in Europe. Good morning in America. As you may know, my name is Lola Velarde. I'm the director of the Political Red Network for Values, and it's for me a huge pleasure to present to you this webinar that we are organizing for the day of today. We are going to talk about the several details of the family politics, which had great results in Spain, and which was put into function roughly 10 years ago. And these are politics of reference in Spain, the Hungarian family politics. As far as you know, it is really important for us, this sort of transatlantic dimension, I mean, for our network. And just during these transatlantic dialogues, we wanted to talk to Ángela Velarde, who's who has an important role in the Brazilian government, and she participated in all of our sessions, and she will do a short introduction today for our meeting. I'm not sure whether she's with us at this moment. Not yet, it seems. So if she's not yet with us, then well, actually, what I see here that she's trying to enter to the session, and I will to present you anyway our speaker of today, BALÁZS MOLNÁR, who has 3 kids, and he used to be an Undersecretary of State for the European issues of the Prime Minister's office. He was also diplomatics in Brussels and in Vienna, and at the moment he's the vice president of the Maria Kopp Institute for the investigation of family affairs. So he knows very well all this development of the political of the family politics in Hungary. He's one of the protagonists of this process, and yes, he will give us a presentation of roughly 30 minutes, and after that we are going to celebrate a sort of interparliamentary colloquium. In this sort of webinars, always different MPs, senators are participating, and therefore these are really enriching conversations. We highlighted very much that some representatives of several governments, conservative members of the governments be present here from Uruguay, from Ecuador, of course, from Brazil, and yes, well, Colombia. And for us, it's really important that you listen this presentation. So we still wait a little bit till Ángela can enter this meeting. I'm really sorry. It seems that she's got at this moment some technical issue, but she's trying to resolve. No problem. I think if we wait one more minute, it's not a problem. Anyway, I think this is a good moment to present Rodrigo Goñi, Corina Cano, Lourdes Luque from different Latin American countries, José Alfonso Di Pimentel from Mexico, Saray Núñez, she's also MP in Mexico, Georgina Trias from Spain, Alejandro Reynoso, also MP from Mexico, Isidus Bareikis, he's a diplomat from Lithuania, Héctor Yepes from Ecuador, and then Lourdes Méndez Monasterio, she's also MP she's from Spain. And yeah, when we start the dialogue, I will give the chance to participate to each of these persons. Angela, anytime when you wish. It seems that she can already listen to you, or she's hearing you, but I'm not sure whether we can see her at this moment. Yes, she's with us, for sure. Yes, indeed.
Doctora Ángela, ainda não se escuta, a senhora tem que abrir o microfone.
At the moment, we can't hear you yet because it seems that your micro is deactivated. It's on mute. Just an important information. We will prepare a sort of folder in which we will resume all the information about this meeting, and we are going to give you the next week. As far as the folder of the former meeting is concerned, some 15 days ago, we have already sent it to you. If any of you didn't get it yet, it's enough if you just send us an email, and we will try to facilitate you all this information. And the Dr. GANDRA is already with us. Angela, the word is yours. Just go ahead.
Ay, qué bom. Qué bom. ¿Vosotros podéis escucharme? ¿Sí? ¿Sí? Ay, qué bien. Lola, Diego, muy bien. Muy bien. Yo estoy muy contenta y es un
Okay,
honor.
perfect. It's an honor for me to be able to speak in this meeting. I prepared it in English, so I will speak in English. May I? So I'm at the moment I'm in São Paulo, so it's okay.
I'm gonna speak in English if you don't mind. Can it be? Yeah. So Malta, it's a real honor to talk about Hungary and what the example it gave to our country. No, so the first thing is I want to express to everyone. No, it is that. Sorry, I'm so sorry because I'm in another place. Just a minute. Okay, so just better like this. So sorry. So as you know, for the first time in Brazil, we have public policies for the family, and you know also that the specific goal for a public policy for the family is to strengthen family ties. No matter what we do externally, the target is to give conditions to the family, to each family of the country to get along well. And of course, the consequences is not only human flourishment to each person, but social and economic development, because a well-structured family works better. On the other hand, as the family is a school of citizenship, fraternity, and also is the real prevention of risky behavior, when you have strong families, the society becomes more solidary, pacific, balanced, and harmonious. We have a more peaceful country. And I could taste this in Hungary when I went to the Demographic Summit. I could see it was an experience, you know, like happy people, solidary people. I was very well treated, not only in the Congress, but in the streets. And I learned a lot from a country that are really trying to improve the public policies for the family. And in this sense, I can really say that for the first time, we have a ministry of the family in Brazil, but we have had a lot of inspiration from Hungary. You know, we had to go to another country, to our older brothers, to learn from them. And I remember in the very beginning of Brazil, Brazil National Secretary for the Family, we were trying to settle it down. It was incredible how our benchmarking on Hungarian public policies for the family, they were an inspiration for us, you know, and we really have and have still had and we have still, you know, to have this teacher for us, you know. And I remember when I've been to the Demographic Summit, we received a lot of material we could bring back to Brazil, and it helped a lot for us, you know, to shape our public policies from the very beginning. You know, and what called my attention, you know, to have this inspiration. First of all, because Hungary was not ashamed of putting the family as the basis of society, as the alma mater of a society, of the mother cell, you know, for the society. And it was not a very politically correct topic, but it brought Hungary brought this to the stage, you know, and talked clearly about what was supposed to be a family, what we should do for the family, you know, and the active organism you have in Hungary to go like to bring this public policies, you know, and to shape these public policies is very active, very practical, you know, and is there, you know, to really to transform the public policies for the family as a real transversal topic. As Katalin Nova, that I truly admire, I truly have in her person, not only a teacher for me, no, an example, but also like a friend, no, a very great friend of my heart. And I remember her saying, no, that she's saying that family-friendly mindset and family-friendly politics were very important for Hungary, and we should bring this to the state, also to make people see this importance. And she acted like that. And Hungary has been working like this for several years. And families, I met families in Italy, the Hungarian families, I said, oh, we don't pay tax. No, we have the third child and we don't pay tax. They can see that they are protected. And what also I could learn, well, first of all, this very strong position that without shame, not that we defend the family as such. The second thing is that I can see that Hungary brings motherhood and fatherhood as a privilege. Today, motherhood suffers bullying all over the world. And people, we are trying to to change this point of view. But we see that practically, I heard that some months ago in a Congress in the United States. We say family first, but then the real thing it is like when you have a child, you're fired, or they don't protect your child. No? They don't protect you as a mother. No? And even the fathers, sometimes they don't have a leave. Or so I could see that you believe in motherhood, you believe in fatherhood, you gather the both institutes together, and also you protect it practically through laws, right? So I remember also Kathleen saying it's a privilege, to breastfeed, to deliver a child, and we lost this idea. We lost this. I mean, realization of a woman, because it's a gift. So I see that you have a background to explain that, and also you really protect this with laws practically, And also I never forget what I heard in that summit, in the demographic summit, that identity is a gift. We never think about that to be born in our homeland, it's like, it's a gift. We didn't choose that, but it was a gift we received. So we have to to take care of it, and also to think about identity is to think about our tradition, our country, and not as I think patriotism is different from nationalism, because it's not, that doesn't mean that my country is better than others, but I love my country because it was a gift to be born there. So I have to keep it as a treasure, and make it, grow. And I think with your public policies for the family, you really care about that Hungarian identity. And I also can say that you have to keep it because the language is yours, right? Yes, it's so hard to understand. I mean, but it's so beautiful also, to the Hungarian language, So, but I think we have to keep it to citizens. But I don't think, and I can see that also in Hungary. It's not all about we want to interfere with families to have more children, and it's not in this sense you do your demographic politics also. No, because I think it is more for the love of the country, is respecting people's freedom. Is not like China, for example. No, of course, it's completely different because it departs from the family and the freedom from the family. But what we can show people, and you do that the people of a country is the best gift of the country too. Is the best we have in our country. So we really think that a person is much more important than any material thing. So you show that practically, and we have a lot to learn from that. And just finishing, I can say that also I learned from Kathleen, and I see that you have this in your public policies, that work-family balances are important, and we're trying to do that also in our country. And the last thing, we couldn't yet learn and improve our tax public policies for the family. We went there to the Ministry of Economics, and say we're going to have a tax reform. We want to protect the family, and as is a transversal topic, we're having our steps on this, and it's very beautiful because also our president signed a decree that says that we have a national strategy to strengthen family bonds, and also economically is supporting families economically, of course, helps to strengthen also family bonds. So we're trying to have an inspiration on our tax reform too, the way we can, because we are still improving, and we have lots of poverty in our country too, but it's also a light for us. So I have to thank thank Hungary to give an example. We have to thank it for being the country, for being with us in the partnership performance, and we truly want to be able to together we stronger, well, to give to help the world, to show the world that the human being is the best we have. The family is the best we can have, is what matters really, and that also, and I can see that in Hungary and in us as well, that a political thinks about the next election, but a statement or statement thinks about the next generation. And that's what we're trying to do, departing from the basis of the society, and the most beautiful treasure people have, each family. Thank you, Hungary. Thank you, Mona. Thank you, everyone, to be together in this beautiful struggle, to bring that family to the stage. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias, Ángela, por esta magnífica.
Thank you very much indeed, Angela, for this beautiful introduction.
Could you hear me? Yes, you could? Thank you. Muchas gracias, perdona.
Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, because I didn't use my headphones. So I just wanted to express my gratitude for this wonderful introductory speech. It's always a pleasure when you are with us in these meetings, because we share this love for the family, for the liberty of the families, which is a basic clue of our network. So the essence of the liberty. So we are really grateful for that. I know that soon you will have to leave us. Anyway, thank you very much for being with us. And I think without any delay, I just give the word to our guest, star guest, BALÁZS MOLNÁR, that I presented before. I don't want to... I will remain a little bit with you in order to listen the presentation. Thank you very much, Angela. So the word is yours, BALÁZS.
Thank you very much indeed. Good morning over there. Good afternoon here in Europe. I have the honor to speak about the Hungarian family politics, and I will try to be brief, but this is quite a tree with a lot of branches. I will hope that I will be able to touch everything. But I could also stop here because Angela was so beautifully talking about Hungarian family policy that maybe the details will not be that exciting. But thank you very much. Molto obrigada, and I'm very grateful that I may talk a bit about what we do and why we do here in Hungary. I hope I can do my presentation to a big one and it will not stop it from being good. So when in 2010,
thank you.
When in 2010 the conservative Christian Democratic Fidesz government took office, Hungary that time was in a severe financial and moral distress. We have to state that. The new government committed itself to building a competitive country with workfare society that addresses the country's truly given demographic challenges by supporting families, and that is proud of her Judeo-Christian cultural heritage. The focus of public policy has been reverted from the individual towards the community, and family has been, as you can see on the screen, anchored in the newly drafted fundamental law of the country as the basic building block of society, stating that a marriage is between one man and one woman, and also stating that the state supports families. Also, one very important subject in the constitution is that we value the life from the conception onwards. This is clearly stated as well. May I continue? The act, the Cardinal Act on the Protection of Families states that there is no well-functioning society without well-functioning families. And also this Cardinal Act puts the protection of families as a joint task of so many actors like the state, the churches, the civil society, the local governments, the media actors, and also economic players. And if I may finish here, the supportive family is the foundation for a positive quality of life, as Kopp, a professor of psychology and a medical doctor who our institute is named after, formulated so well. And then let us look at how the population looked like in 2010 and how are we or where do we stand in 2020. So we have a population decline as of 1981. We have nearly 1 million less inhabitants. We are a country of less than 10 million people, so it is roughly 10%. It is a huge problem. And by 2011, the desire to have children fall into a historic low. We never had so low fertility in this country. That was 1.23. That was that time the lowest in the European Union. Between 2010 and 2020, the number of women in the childbearing age is decreased by nearly 20%, by 250,000 people. So actually what we are trying to do here is Hungary to get less women have more children in order to gain advantages, and we will see whether we succeed. The family-centered values of the Hungarian people, nevertheless, are outstanding in European comparison. If we ask them whether they would like to live in family, whether they would like to marry, they still say that they do. When we compare it within the European setting, 45% of Hungarians thought that it is ideal to have 2 children. Another 45 idealizes a 3+1 or 3+, so a large family, and only 1% says that life can be ideal without any child. Just for the comparison, in Finland and Germany, 8% of the population believes that living without any children is ideal. So on the demographics, as I have said, population is still declining, unfortunately, but we have, despite the, as I have said, much less women, we have a couple of thousand, 2,500 more babies born in 2020 than it was in 2010. The fertility was raised to 1.55 until 2020, which means that in that last 10 years, we have 115,000 more babies just due to this increased fertility. The number of abortions, we can report a very large decrease there. It's still a relatively high number, but the trend is pointing towards the right direction. And there where we can be very proud is the number of marriages, despite the fact that in many other regions and many other countries, less and less people marry. We have 86% increase in marriages in this last 10 years. By that, we are very much on top of the list when it comes to European countries. Number of divorces are also declining. It was last time 1958 when we had so little number of divorces in Hungary, and it's nice to see that that despite the worrying signs or despite rather the public opinion expressed by many scientists and political players, we did not have an increase in the divorces during the pandemic, but rather a 15% decrease from 2019 to 2020. So even these pandemic struck times did not increase divorces in Hungary. Female employment is up to 13% in the last, up by 13% in this last decade. Only Malta could fare better in this, in the European comparison. And this is very much in line with what we always said, that we would like to provide an option for Hungarians to either stay home with their babies or we help them to get back to the labor market. I will talk about that in details. But it certainly is not true, as many of our liberal opponents here in Hungary say, that we would like to chain the women to the stove. we can say that they can very much see that we had a 24% increase in fertility and a 13% increase in female employment parallelly in the last 10 years. And also a new data which we can share, and I am personally very proud of that we managed to counteract the European trend, and whereby in Europe we have more and more children born out of wedlock. In Hungary we managed to have a nearly 10% increase in that sense. So it was 52% of children born in wedlock in 2010, whereby in 2020 it is 61%. Talking about a bit of resources, Hungary spends roughly 5% of her GDP on family affairs and family policies. And as we can see on this slide, it is very much in a direct connection with the increase of fertility. So we can see that that from the slide that when nearly half as much money was spent on families, then we had the record low of fertility, and whereby nowadays we managed to upscale even further from the stabilized 1.5 fertility which we have had reached until 2016. Change of number in marriages. You can see here it's European comparison. The countries somehow do not really seem to show, but it shows that we have a very large increase in Hungary, 89.5% compared to 2010, and we managed to have more marriages in 2020 than in 2019, despite the fact that during the pandemic or most months of the pandemic, actually big weddings were prohibited in Hungary due to the situation. And then going into the actual family policy interventions, let me start with the flagship, that is family taxation. Family taxation was available in Hungary in 2010, but it was only available for 106,000 persons, because only large families, that is 3+ in Hungary, were receiving a bit of reduction of their taxes. But right in 2010, the decision was made, and it started, of course, in 2011, the fiscal year 2011. That means that monthly, if you have one child, you can reduce your taxes, personal income taxes, by 30 euro. If you have 2 children, you can reduce it by 120 euro a month. And if you have 3 children, then 300 euro reduction is granted after the 3 children monthly. That actually means that if you are on an average income in Hungary, you practically do not pay any personal income tax if you have 3 children. And as of 2015, we have made a change to the rules, as not everyone could make use of the entire deduction amount if they were in the lower income classes. So the rule was changed in a way that it's not only personal income tax they can waive, but they can also discount the family benefits from the social security payments. So actually there is no legally implied person in Hungary who cannot make full use of this family taxation benefits. And then new measures kept on coming also in case of family taxation. As of 2020, as part of the Family Protection Action Plan, it was introduced that mothers, whoever in their life gave birth to 4 or more children, do not have to pay any personal income tax throughout their career. This affects 45,000 Hungarian women. We have a personal income tax of 15%, so it is 15% more in the family's budget. And as of next year, we will introduce the personal income tax exemption for every Hungarian who is under the age of 25. Thereby, we would like to help them starting their career, starting their families. We all know that those who start their career, who are new in the workplaces, especially in these pandemic-struck times, are more vulnerable workforce than others. Sometimes the wages are not as high as they should be. It is already a 15% increase in their places. And why is family taxation so important, apart from helping, of course, the financial situation of families and thereby their well-being? It left altogether 700 million euros at the disposal of families during the last decade. And that money was nearly entirely spent internally in Hungary. It all went into the Hungarian economy and thereby boosted the economic growth of the country. And that economic growth led to the second highest growth of the European Union countries in 2019, which we consider the last, so to say, war peace year financially. So, and then let me in a very fast manner bring you through what we actually do offer to families. But first, I would like to say that the most important factor when we talk about any family policy is stability. Stability and flexibility. Stability is important, as families have to be certain that these measures will be available throughout the next 2 decades when they have to raise those children. It has been a problem in this country that family benefits have been taken away, and unfortunately that also showed right away in the demographics. So this government, as of 2010, is very much aware of that whenever we change a rule, we always just add to something, but never take away some benefit which was offered previously, so that families can really rely on that stability. And flexibility is important, as every need of every family is different, and we are trying to assist families with their individual needs as much as we can only do that. So one very important sentence which comes from the start of my speech also is that we are not increasing any benefit which is non-income tested and which is just granted as some sort of a financial help, but we rather attach family benefits to legitimate employment and paying social contributions, so that by that family policy can also contribute to the big aim that we are increasing employment, we are increasing activity, and that we are channeling employment into the legal channels. We can be very proud to state that we have 850,000 more Hungarians in employment than we had in 2010, which means that we have a work or an employment market of 4.3, 4.4 million. So you can imagine what a fantastic gain that is for the entire society. And then just in a very fast manner, the actual supports. The first one is a maternity support. This is a one-off payment for every mother who gave birth, and that is roughly 200 euros. And then we have the monthly family allowances. These allowances are granted are granted without any eligibility criteria, or actually there is one eligibility criteria. I will say what that is. So this family allowance has been divided into two. It's the same allowance, but it's called differently: a child raising benefit until the schooling age, so until the age of 6, and family allowance schooling benefit after the school age started. And in the case of the later, families have to make sure that they send the children to school. Otherwise, if the children do not go to school, they are not allowed to be paid this family monthly allowance. And somehow the next year we had 64% less absenteeism in the country. So it is something, again, where family policy can make an incentive. And then we have the two allowances which support the home care of children. Let's start with the later one, because that is linked to the mothers, or actually it's gender neutral in most cases, so actually to the father's employment as well. In case you were employed, then you, in the first 6 months of the child, you will receive the so-called infant care fee. Infant care fee is currently 70% of previous income. No cap applies. But in this case, actually, we will have a change of rule in 2 weeks. So as of 1st of July, we will have the infant care fees rate raised to 100%. So actually in the first 6 months, mother will receive the entire prior salary. And as infant care fee is taxed in a more favorable way than proper salary, that means that the mother in the first 6 months of raising their child will make more money, will bring home more money than any peer who did not give birth to a child. So there again, a positive discrimination, and we all know that that first 6 months, especially in the case of first children, how financially demanding that is when a child is born. And then we have, for the next 1.5 years, we have childcare fee, that's called JED, and that is 70% of the previous income, but there we apply a cap of 665 euro a month. And for the 3rd year, so the age of 2 until 3 of the child, is the childcare allowance, which is only 92 euros. And that is provided for the 3rd year in case you were insured, and in case you did not have prior employment, and by that social security contributions prior you gave birth to the child, then for the entire 3 years you will receive that much lower amount to take care of your children, which means that actually family policy again tries to incentivize legitimate employment. And whenever we look into this chart, we have to state one very important, so to say, fundamental of the Hungarian family policy. That is that in case that the Hungarian government would wish to give a real option to young parents or parents with young children, in particular to mothers, that they can decide either to stay home 3 years with one child, or they can go back to work, and we will see that there are quite some incentive to help that. So there is a real option. You can stay home for 3 years, or you can receive support to go back to the labor market. The real option is important because we value motherhood per se, as Angela just said. So we do not regard women workforce who is currently not in the work because of taking care of children, but we believe that that is a very favorable thing for the entire society, that they just gave birth to a child. Just a very quick chart, what I was talking about. You can see 2010, the so-called benefits which are granted on the subjective right is the yellow one below. That did not change. Actually, it was decreased a bit, but by tax incentives, I have talked about that in a long fashion, have been upscaled to the 30-fold. And actually 10 times more people receive family benefits, roughly 1 million, when it was 106,000 in 2010. And the employment-related benefits have been constantly upscaled throughout the 10 years. As you can see, from 27%, it doubled to 63% within the scale of the family cash benefits. And then flexibility. So stability we've talked about. Flexibility, we have the childcare fee extra program, which allows to keep the childcare fee benefit and start working without any limitation in case the child is more than 6 months of age, which means that you are not losing the benefit of 665 euro, and you can go back to either part-time, either home office, full-time to work, if the family can arrange for that. That is something which is very important. We did lack that flexibility. You have to see that the Hungarian labor market is still structured on the way that it's rather an in and out situation for especially young mothers, because there is not enough, or not necessarily enough home office positions or any atypical working conditions. Part-time employment is gaining ground, but it's still something where especially for the lower income classes, it was just not worth to go back to work if the income, if the salary was so low for a part-time position. But now, as you can keep that benefit, it adds up and it makes sense. The state reduces the student loan of mothers. Why do we do that, and why do we do that? Tertiary education time is taken into account as employment if giving birth during or right after studies. We do that because we all know that Hungarians want 2.37 children in general or in average, but we see that 1.55 is born, and one of the reasons why all these wish children are not born is that Hungarians start to give birth too late. And especially in the case of well-educated women, this is a legitimate fear that they will miss out from studies, they will miss out from careers, they will miss out from their labor market prospects. So what we do is that the state reduces the student loan of only the mother in case the birth of the second child by 50%, and in case that mother has a third child, the entire remaining or outstanding debt will be taken over by the state, which is a huge help for these families. And then the tertiary education, those who study in tertiary education and have a child, or within 1 year after they finished or they received their diploma, they have a child, that tertiary education time is taken account as employment, as social security contributing period, which it is. We all know it's not, but still they will receive the amount of the childcare fee, so the higher amount, which is a great financial help and help those who wish to have children in a younger age. And then we have a provision in the labor code which guarantees part-time employment of mothers until 4 years age of the child, and in case they have 3 or more children, until the 6 years old of the smallest child. So this is a guarantee that actually employers have to offer part-time positions to mothers returning to the labor market. Also, we have some tax cuts for companies who employ mothers and actually also fathers returning from maternity leave. And then work-life balance. This flexibility I just mentioned would not mean a lot if we would not have a daycare nursery system available, but we do actually, because we have a 30% increase in the daycare nursery system. We have some newer forms which are a bit more flexible. It's not that easy to create an institution in Hungary. Group size and facility size is always an issue, but we managed to do some flexible arrangements there as well. We have mini nurseries, workplace nurseries, family nurseries, and of course that means that actually if a mother wishes to return to the labor market, they can leave their children in these available nurseries throughout the country, and they can know that their child is well taken care of. We also have introduced compulsory kindergarten as of the age of 3. This was as of the age of 5 previously, but we believe that it is good to grant 2 extra years, especially for those who come from a less advantaged circumstances, and allow them to socialize within the kindergartens 2 years more prior to entering to school. Kindergarten offers 5 times healthy meal a day, and even for most of the Hungarians, they offer that either very with a great cut in prices, or actually fully free, so completely free. And what is very important in that regard is that we do not stigmatize with these measures. So it's not always just 1 or 2 child who receive the food, for example, free of charge, but rather half group or even more. So these measures shall not by any means stigmatize. And of course, compulsory kindergarten does not have to be compulsory. So if you wish to homeschool your child, you can do that. You can apply for the permit, and the permit will be granted to you. In case, of course, you can take care of the child best as the child's best interest. And then we have Women 40. Women 40 is the only remaining early pension possibility in Hungary. That means that any woman who has 40 years of service period may go to pension. We have roughly 300,000 Hungarians who made use of that. This is also called the so-called Grammy or grandmother pension, because we all know that with the pensionable age being longer and longer, we all face the situation that our parents' generation is not available to help out with the children with the age of 50, 55, or even 60 when the last generation's parents were already pensionable. Currently, we have a pensionable age of 65. So that means about 4.5 years for the women, so they can go to pension with the age of 60. So it is roughly 5% less than normally, which is 65. And then housing. Why is housing so important? When we ask Hungarians about the determining factors, what makes up their decision whether they would like to have children and how many children they would like to have, the first is the stability of partnerships, marriage. The second one is the stability of their work, so it's employment. And the third one is owning a house. We here in Central Europe and in Hungary, we are very fond of having an own house. We do not that much like to rent. And by that, of course, the government also can help families to have more assets, to have more financial means. The housing scheme is dependent on whether you are buying a used flat or house or building a new one, and it also is dependent on how many children you have. Actually, what it grants is that if you are buying a used flat, you receive, and you have 3 children, you receive 7,100 euro. If you are buying or building a new home, you already receive a 32,000 euro subsidy. So this is a support, you don't have to pay it back. And both category may receive a state subsidized loan, which help to build these houses and pay off all the prices. And then fighting poverty, child welfare measures. I have talked about it, that we have separated family policy from social policy, because we did not want to give the message that actually family policy should serve as an anti-poverty measure, but rather we believe that we should aim at helping Hungarians to have as many children as they wish to have, and we know that there is still a large gap between wish children and born children. But on the other hand, we are doing a lot to reduce poverty, and especially to reduce child welfare poverty. So I have talked about the free or subsidized child catering offered in an unstigmatizing manner. We have reached a point that the free supply of textbook is available in all generations or all classes. We have Elizabeth programs to ensure that those in need have holiday opportunities. And these big camps have been renovated throughout the lockdown, because the last year we could not have any camps which lasted longer than a day. So we used that year that we have just started we have started summer holidays for schools, and the camp already opened, and the facilities look brand new, and it will be very, very nice to start life over in those camps, Elizabeth camps. And then we have family support services for disadvantaged families. For example, the Safe Start program, which is a holistic approach program. It practically means that they take care of helping the parents, helping the children to learn, and then helping the parents to for example, how to lead the household, how to come out of money, how to deal with the financial matters, how they can help children, how they can apply for a job. So it is a very, very successful program, especially in those rural settlements where they do not have as many possibilities. And then maybe the most important, and I'm glad that Angela used the word mindset, because I just wrote that one for this. On the picture, we can see the so-called easy riders, which were lots of little children with their plastic motorbikes cruising through. This is the Hero Square in the very center of Budapest. And we had a lot of these sort of big programs throughout the 2018 and actually since then as well, which was the year of families. And well, the aim is to uplift the public perception of family life, that we can state that actually having a family is perfectly normal, having a large family is perfectly normal. It's fun, it's good to have children. And of course, this is quite interesting and quite important for us, as many Hungarians face the situation also from family, also from neighbors, that are you crazy? You are having a third or fourth child. How will you feed that mouth? That it shall not be an issue, but and that what I have already said, that motherhood and parenthood is a value for the society, for the nation, for the survival of the nation, actually, to use big words, and this is very important for us. And then slowly coming to the end, we have in 2019 and 2020 started the so-called Family Protection Action Plan. This is a 7-point action plan. I have already talked about some points: the nursery development and the housing support, and also the personal income tax exemption for mothers of 3. But the most important and actually most popular one is the subsidy for the young married couples. That actually means that you can receive a loan from the state of 30,000 euro, and in case you have to be married for that, and in case you have 3 children, you do not have to pay back a penny. If you have 1 child, you will be suspended the payment for 3 months. 3 years, sorry, and if you have 2 children, you will be suspended the payment for another 3 years, and 30% of the remaining outstanding debt will be taken over by the state. But in case you have 3 children, you do not have to pay back a penny. Most of the families concerned use that 30,000 euro to buy into a building, to a house build, and use the house construction or the housing subsidy to put these two together, and in case you had 3 children, you had half of the house already without spending a penny. We also thought of those who already have a large mortgage and live with that, and they have new children born, and that means that we decrease the mortgages of the families in the case of the arrival of the children. In case you have a second child, you receive an amount which is 3,000 euros. Sorry for that, 3,000 euros. And in case you have a third child, then you receive an 8,000 euro from the state. And in case you have a fourth, fifth, it's always again a 3,000 euro decrease, or that is practically offered to you. This is again a great help for all the families who did not want to build a new house, but they already had one and were in the situation of paying off mortgages. And maybe the last one here is the car purchase support for large families. This had been requested for long by the Large Families Association, a very powerful and very well-working NGO, and they advocate for the large families, and they asked for some sort of support for mobility, and we managed to include that into the program, which means that 7,500 euro support is provided if you buy a car of 7 seats or more, and it cannot be more than 50% of the price of the car. And it is extremely popular. We can see that many families manage to change their old and uneconomical cars, and they are very grateful for that. And the last one is again a sign of intergenerational solidarity. Grandparents become eligible for subsidized parental leave. That practically means that in case they are still in employment, so they are not yet pensioners, they can take up the childcare fee instead of their children, and they can take care of their grandchildren, so that the sandwich generation, the current parents, can go back to employment earlier. This is also something which is quite popular. And then just very quickly, we have 360,000 applications for the 7 points, and then we have half of it is the subsidy for young married couples, extremely popular. It is in inevitable relation to the growing number of marriages. And then we have roughly 10% of the car purchase, and then we have 9% of the decrease of the mortgage loans, and then we have the other loans on the other loans of the housing support, and then we have 15%. I said 45% for the personal income tax exemption, and it seems a little amount, that 0.606% for the grandparental yet, but as I said, the big share is 360,000. And then this year we had some programs started in order to revitalize the economy after the coronavirus and the pandemic. And we had two issues. One is that there was a mortgage, and actually every loan could be extended, and there was some sort of a termination for paying back the mortgages and the loans of families, so they could stop paying, and they now, after the state of emergency ended, they will have to resume that. But during the crisis, when many lost their jobs, it was a great help for families. And whenever anyone had a family support which would have come to an end, it was automatically prolonged, so that in case you had yet, for example, 665 euro a month, then and you would have entered to the phase that it would outscale, you would still receive that support. You would still receive that support throughout until the end of the emergency period. Again, a great help for families. And I know I'm speaking too much, so I will come to an end in 2 minutes. But the home creation program, it aims at revitalizing the economy and help the families as well. So one is that there is a VAT of newly built houses is reduced by 22%, so from 27 to 5%. And also those who use the CHOC housing program, so the 10 million or the 30,000 euro, the other one for building a house, will even receive that 5% VAT back afterwards. So it is practically 27% less for them building a new home. And then there is a 4% levy of buying a house apartment that will be abolished for those who buy their new property with the housing support. And then there seemed to be a need for 2-generation homes. We have in our study, it shows that 8% of Hungarians would be willing to or would like to live on top of the house of the grandparents, and that until now it received a smaller amount of support, because it was not seen. It has not been seen as a new home, but it has been only seen as an enlargement of the previous home. But now all these receive that more than 30,000 euro. All these builds receive a 30,000 euro help. And then this is extremely popular. The next one, it's the family, any family raising a child under 25 years of age is eligible for 50% of the cost of a renovation work done to the apartment. And the maximum is 8,600 euro. We already have more than 13,000 applications for that. And again, this is great for revitalizing the economy as well, pumping some money into somehow renovating, redoing the houses of Hungarians. And then, of course, it's always an issue that the red tape and the corresponding fees charged by the public notaries will be maximized, so that the families do not have a lot of additional costs. And they're in a very fast manner. We have the home renovation is taken into account by 26%, and even you can receive a loan for that is taken up by 10%. And then, of course, we can see that we have the reduction of the notary fees, we have the duty-free home purchase, so it is quite evenly shared. And then I'm coming to the end, but I would like to finish by quoting the Prime Minister, who said in the Demographic Summit, which Angela already mentioned in 2019, in his opening speech, that we will win if we manage to build a family support system that ensures that those who decide to have children are guaranteed better living standards than if they decided not to have children. This will be the turning point. If deciding to have children contributes to an improvement in your standard of living, not because your children will look after you when you are old, but here and now. This is immediately when you are a parent still raising children. This is the point we are seeking. This is what we want to reach, and this will be the tipping point for the Hungarian family support system. But we are not yet, and it will need quite a few more years of preserving work. So this is the message from the Prime Minister. So we will certainly continue, and as you have heard, we have quite some measures in the pipeline for 2022. Thank you very much for your kindest attention.
Thank you so much, BALÁZS, for this wonderful presentation. Let me switch to Spanish. Sorry. Le doy las gracias a BALÁZS.
So thank you very much, BALÁZS. I've been trying to improve an integrated family politics and a family perspective in our country. And when I get acknowledged about the Hungarian family politics, where I'm always talking about the practical example of Hungary. I haven't ever seen anything such integrated, such complete as the Hungarian family politics. And yeah, it's really amazing, are really amazing the results that you reached only within 8 or 10 years. It's really, really important that you try to create a family-friendly program, creating a climate, a good climate, which was a really important difference. For example, in Germany, they invested a lot of money in public politics, but they didn't reach the same results because the political incentives, of course, are necessary, but they are not enough. It's important also to create that positive, favorable climate for the families. Yeah, and I don't continue. I think I will give the word for the other participants. We should finish at 5:30. But if any one of you would like to remain more time with us, it is possible. But anyway, that's the official ending hour of our meeting. So there are people from the legislation of 10 different countries, and we are sure that this presentation served as inspiration for all of you. Well, I think we should start a round of questions or comments. Anyone can ask for the word in order to make any observation or to raise any question. Corina Cano de Panama. We have here several friends from Ecuador. We have here representative of Lasso, Lourdes Luca. There is Hector Yepes, who used to be an MP. Isabel Maria Salazar from Ecuador also. Edwin Rafael Ronquillo. From Mexico, Jose Alfonso Pimentel, local MP. Sara Nuña from Spain, Georgina Trias, MP, Lourdes Méndez Monasterio, Spanish MP, Ike Silva, parliamentary. We have also a person from Lithuania, Marcelo Andrade from Ecuador also, Carmen Espinosa from San Pedro, from the local government of San Pedro from Mexico. It's a local government that always pioneered all the pro-family politics. We have a senator from Colombia, Miguel Monras from the National Action Party from Mexico, a representative from the Department of Minas Gerais from Brazil. Now, I think we should start the round of questions. Down you have a button that you can use for raise your hand.
Georgina Trias, adelante.
Georgina Trias, go ahead. I break the ice. Thank you very much, Balázs. It was a pleasure hearing you. The data that you gave us are really surprising. In 10 years, you reached huge results in Hungary, which actually fulfills us with expectations in a country as Spain, where the situation is, let's say, bad. At the very beginning, we always said that in our socialist government, they don't take care about the families, which is a huge lack. My question is that you were talking about a less number of abortions, and there were less also divorces. At the same time, the employment of the women was raised. So my question is, how did you reach it? You were talking about the different measures that you introduced, but as Lola told you, the financial, the economical measures are not enough. I think it's really important a family-friendly climate in a country. All those images that you have shown us, that the government is really helping to the families. In Spain nowadays, a big family, to see a big family on the streets. I'm a mother of 7 children, and it's something very strange. Some people applauses me, but a lot of people just are looking at me like an extraterrestrial. You mentioned also that it is really important for you the work that the mothers are doing as taking care of the children until the age of 3, dignifying somehow the mother's work. So I would like to express my gratitude for you. And you were talking about also the weddings, that there are more weddings in Hungary. And at the end, you told that the government aids are for the couples that are married. Is it true? I believe that the marriage is really important from the point of view of the society. Somehow you highlight the importance of the family in the texture of the society, and also the last measure that you mentioned for the intergenerational solidarity. It's also something very important, and I think, well, I'm not sure whether we will be able to reach these results anyway, but anyway, we will try to transmit all these ideas of yours, because I think everything is radically human that you are doing. The families are something radically human. So thank you very much indeed for the job you're doing in Hungary. Thank you very much, Georgina. I think we are giving the word to Balázs, if you wish.
Okay, I think it was at least four or five questions, but well, first of all, thank you very much for the nice words, and you know that we are very much in connection with Spanish politicians and of course Spanish people, and it is in many ways sad to see that those countries who used to be so family friendly, the Mediterranean countries, the Catholic countries, are somehow forgetting that in the official policies. But I'm quite sure that it's not up to the people themselves. If I may come to the question, what I can say, work is important, because we had a huge problem with activation in this country. We had generations of people who never went to work, and they had to be led back to the labor market. And we started to do a huge scale public employment program for them. The shortest unemployment period in the European Union is in Hungary. It's only 3 months. And in case you don't find a job in that 3 months, you will be offered a public employment position. When we were still in the crisis, we had 300,000 people in that program. Now it's below 100,000, because of course the economy fares a lot better. And for those 300,000, for the unskilled one, we provided trainings and we led them back to the open labor market. Many of them were women, many of them were mothers. On the other hand, we managed to get to the point that in 2018, we had skill shortages in many parts of the economy. And there actually one of the reserves was the well-skilled mothers who were home with their children. And if we help them with the crashes, when we help them with the flexible possibility that they could do part-time work and they would be remunerated, that they could keep the childcare fee, many of them also went back part-time to work. And this is where the 13% comes from. And of course, it comes from actually the men's percentages were even higher. So we had an average growth in employment as well, very important. And then, well, abortions. Abortion law is still relatively liberal in Hungary. But you have to see that we had huge amounts of huge numbers of abortions done in this country. In the 50s, 60s, we had twice as many abortions than live birth. So it is a very, very, very dark legacy this country has. On the other hand, forming the public opportunity about families and for example, just introducing relatively little changes to how actually a medical doctor has to handle a situation. For example, if currently there is an examination and the woman is pregnant, the first word or the first sentence by the medical doctor cannot be that you are pregnant, do you want to keep it? Which was often the case, unfortunately. Now it is prescribed by law, and it was, I'm quite sure, actually practiced prior to that by many of the medical doctors, that you are pregnant, congratulations. That already changes the setting. And there have been consultations included. There has to be a specific time left between two consultations, and then when you still would like to have an abortion, it will be only done then. So the trends are in a downwards one, but we have to be in that sense quite careful. We are very grateful that, or we are very happy that divorces are going down because we have a lot more marriages, and many said that because of these incentives you will have a lot more marriages and then everyone will divorce in a couple of years' time, and it does not happen. And on the question of marriages, no, normally we do not imply that you have to be married for the support. We have two exemptions though. One is that if you want a housing support and you do not ask it for the already born children, but for those who you would wish to have in the future, for those you have to be married. But the amount is the same if you're a single parent or if you are cohabiting, but you cannot say that I will have the third one in 5 years' time. And married couples can do that. And on the other hand, this new measure, which is the baby accepting subsidy, that is only for married couples, yes. So that was in that sense an incentive, and it is greatly valued by Hungarians. I hope I answered all the questions. oh, sorry, no, intergenerational solidarity. Why is that so important? Because many things changed around COVID. And one is that when we had homeschooling, we had home office, and we had, especially in prior the vaccination, we are top on the European vaccination list. But when we had the vaccine, we did not yet have the vaccination. Those over 65 were advised not to go out of the house. There were specific hours for them open in shops and in pharmacies, for example, but still the big advice was stay home. And then it was much easier for those families who lived in one big house. So on the ground floor, the grandparents, and on top their children, and of course the grandchildren. So it looks like that it is quite important that we value those who actually would like to live in that setting. It's 8% of Hungarians, according to our estimations. It's not a little number, but again, it's very nice to see, for example, that it is not. There is no conflict. So the elder generation does not hate it that the young generation has so much more family support, because they all have their children, their grandchildren affected by these. So it is good to see that the support among those in the older age is quite high sometimes. And I believe I answered now all the questions. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, BALÁZS.
Thank you very much, BALÁZS. We have several questions sent by the chat, and then I will give the word to Alejandra Reynosa from Mexico, senator from Mexico. Aquí en el chat, so here in the chat, it is asked that which is the relation or the adoption of children and the child care politics. So which is the link between the adoption of kids? And there was mentioned a program that is being implemented from the 2018, the so-called Alpha program. I'm not sure whether you know anything about this program. Anyway, if you wish, I think we can take note of these questions. Right now, we give the word to Alejandro Reynoso, the senator from Mexico, and then we will give you the word to answer. Hello, Lola. It's a pleasure to be with you, and also hello to my Mexican colleagues from the state of Guanajuato. First of all, I would like to greet Hungary, to greet you, BALÁZS, that you have been doing here. My question is that what was the process of the implementation of these politics having these results? I understand, and I suppose that on the one hand, there were certain incentives that that the people accepted, but which was the exact process of the implementation? In our country, in Mexico, unfortunately, we were just going to the opposite way. So, for example, in Mexico, the kindergartens are being eliminated, and we have also certain programs against the poverty, but linking to the social issues. And in our country, it's very difficult to convey the social, the family politics because of the federal and state levels. So all these politics should be implemented from a local state level that could help to the families. I understand there are some of them we should, I guess we should talk about the construction, the building of housing possibilities for the families, giving subsidies to the families. So I would like to understand that in the case of Hungary, everything was implemented from upstairs to downwards, so from the let's say state level to the local level. It's a question, and I would like to reiterate that I'm really grateful and I'm convinced, and if there is a transversal family politics applied, we are helping the whole of the society, no several segments, no several parts of the society, but the whole of the society. And the last question, you were talking about the help to the mothers, different aids for the family. My question is there any help for reinforcing the parents' responsibility? So in Mexico, it was promoted that the parents, so father and mother together, could have more days, free days, holidays to spend it with their children. So the question, my question is whether there is any program in Hungary promoting the co-responsibility of father and mother. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
May I answer the question?
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, starting with adoption, all the adopted children are taken exactly as the children who were born into the family. So every support is granted after the adopted children, and in case there is an adoption, then you start with the infant care fee. So it is the highest, which will be just raised to 100%. So it is exactly taken as if you would have given birth to a child, which I believe is just the only way to do that. On the process, I'm not aware of the Alpha program of 2018. On the process, it is a state-led process. So we have the ministry responsible for families, and most of these programs are executed from the national level on. But of course, local, as I just said in the beginning, local governments are very important partners. They are responsible for creches. They are responsible for kindergartens, for example. Schools are centrally administered in Hungary. And of course, we have very important civil society advocacy groups. We have Edith Frivaldsky here with us, a very important partner of ours when it comes to pro-life movements, for example. And we have single parent association, we have large families associations. So these make a tremendous amount of work and advocacy, which a government could never do, because we are, of course, always one step further away from a large family. Even though I, for example, I have a large family, the minister has a large family, the prime minister has a large family, but still, it is not the same as working for the large families, single parent families, and so on. So it is a state-led process, but of course there are many actors who all together can bring us to the best results. And for example, it is important for a municipality, for a local government, to have young people living there, because we have a lot of little villages where everyone is old and the youngsters move away. So that municipality, that village will be deserted. And I believe this is the rural situation in many European and I guess other countries as well. So the municipalities, the local governments are just as important. On the parental responsibility, we have extra days of holidays for parents, and we changed the rule that until I don't know when, until a couple of years back, it was only one parent who could have extra days, but now it's both parents. So it is for 3 plus children, you have 7 days extra a year as a holiday, a paid holiday by the employer, which is of course a great help. And another issue was introduced as well, that it's not just the mothers but also the fathers who can take sick pay if their child is sick, if they have to take care of the sick ill children at home. So it is in that sense also again a possibility when this is double the possibility to take care of the children. And of course, on the responsibilities, I just mentioned that if you are not sending your child to school, you will not receive the benefit, because it is important that the children go to school, and it's important that for example, the disadvantage, the poverty is not taken over to the next generation as well. And we all know how important education in this modern world is, and probably it is even more important than in my childhood was. So it is indeed very important that we have that we support parenting, but we support responsible parenting, and thereby I am quite sure that we are on the right track.
Gracias, Balázs. Han pedido la palabra.
Thank you, Balázs. Lourdes Luque asked the word from Ecuador, and Isabel Maria Salazar. Go ahead, Lourdes, and then we will continue with Isabel Maria. I will try to be as short as possible. First of all, I would like to tell you that Ecuador had before a very aggressive socialist model against the family. They were trying to eliminate all our liberties with progressist tendencies against the families. During 15 years, we had this regime, and that's why we Ecuadorians are really interested. How could we put back the focus on the families? So I would like to thank you for inviting us for this really important dialogue, and we would like to ask your help to create a proposal for that our president, actual president, who's a Catholic, pro-family person. It would be great if he could visit Hungary, and he could import these ideas from Hungary, which is a really Catholic, really Christian country. And I think Hector, Erwin, Marcelo, Isabel Maria, Todo, all of you, you should help us in this initiative. It's a great initiative, Lourdes. This is one of the objectives of this network. So if Balázs, you agree, I guess you will be agree, we should organize a meeting, a bilateral meeting between Hungary and Ecuador in order to talk about these sort of initiatives. Isabel Maria? Just as always, I would like to greet you for this great meeting that are enriching all of the participating countries. It's great to see that so many people are working for the family politics and social politics. Just as Lourdes mentioned you, this is a great opportunity for Ecuador, for the whole Latin American region to be able to do this huge step ahead. However, I would like to highlight two huge problems that we have here in Ecuador as far as the family politics are concerned. The first one is that after the new regime won the elections and we did radical change. We know that very well that there are international NGOs that are trying to pressure us. They are talking about the radical feminism, and yet there is a huge international pressure. They are trying to redirect this interest towards the families to those ways that we are all well aware of, on the one hand. And on the other hand, here in Ecuador, we are defending, we are advocating for the traditional values, but it is important to know that the family is a strategic partner from the point of view of the governing of a country. So everyone in the deciding position should consider it in this way. So I would like to raise a requisite, or rather a question. I would like to ask you to send an official invitation for the Ecuadorian government to participate in this dialogue. So on the one hand, there is that international pressure of other organizations, and on the other hand, there should be a proper balance, such as the invitation from important international organizations. For example, it would be important an official invitation from the Hungarian government, because I believe Guillermo Lasso gives us a huge opportunity. So do you think, is it possible to send some sort of official invitation? And anyway, greetings from Ecuador for all of you that you're collaborating with us. Thank you, Isabel. Well, actually, we just consumed all the time we had at our disposal. Balázs, would you like to answer all these observations or comments that were raised?
Well, I don't think I have to. Of course, we are open to dialogue. Lola, please help us in putting us or making the connection. And of course, it was my pleasure to talk to you. I'm always overwhelmed by the interest of what we are doing here, and we believe that we still have a lot to do. But it's good to see, and just one reaction I missed. It's good to see that we have so many happy families on the streets, and we have active fathers. We will have Father's Day on Sunday, and we have quite a lot of families with 1, 2, 3 children who are dressed well, who can afford to go to holidays, to restaurants, to here and there. So it is good to see that actually I believe that this is what is multiplying, that you see that those who have children, those who have a happy family, that can be seen, that can be showed, and that will multiply, because the wish is there for more children. But of course, it's been here as well for very long, the saying in the socialist time that first you have to have a washing machine, and then you have to have a car, and then you have to have a house, or I don't know, a bigger flat, and it was always something which was more important than the children. And it's good to see that with all these incentives, and actually just as well as we have said, the public perception changed. It is the country now where we can clearly state that having a family is not a disadvantage, but rather an advantage. And I believe that Europe certainly would need more babies born in the European families, And I'm quite sure that other countries are just in the same shoe as we are here. So thank you very much for your kind attention and all the questions. I hope I did not disappoint you. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias, Balázs, por estas presentaciones. Gracias a todos por acompañarnos.
Thank you very much, Balázs, for this presentation. Thank you very much for all of the assistants, participants. Thank you very much for the Network for Values, helping us with organizing this meeting. Thanks for Diego Hernandez, our Latin American director. We are preparing a folder including all the details of what we heard about today. We are doing it as we did last time. So we are going to send you this complete folder. And yeah, we are going to include this session asked by Ecuador. Because yes, I also consider it is really important that all the political decisors should know about these great programs in Hungary. So thank you very much for all of you. Good, great holiday during the summer. Anytime we can, we are going to send you good news, positive news, and we will continue with our agenda for the benefit of the families. Thank you very much for all of you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you, Balázs. Bye.